Welcome back, my students, to another episode of Comet Class. And in today's lesson, guys, we'll be looking at IDW's TMNT 2011 Volume 4, Sins of the Fathers. And yeah, this is a really good volume with a lot of great moments in it. I really enjoyed the story that is being told in this volume. So without further ado, let's jump right into today's story. Let's go. So this story starts off with the Ninja Turtles basically just hanging out with each other, playing a game of Twister, and they basically notice that Splinter's been a little bit on edge with the whole Shredder and the foot situation. So it's really interesting to see how they're all dealing with the acknowledging that they are in fact reincarnated of themselves from the past, and thought that was really cool, and showing that Splinter is really thinking about what's going to have to come to his family in the future, that they will have to actually kill the Shredder the next time they meet. Now, Casey Jones appears and comes through the front door of, I think it's April's apartment, slash cellar that the Ninja Turtles are living at. If you watched the last video, in the last volume that she actually offered them a place to stay, this cellar type store place. And yeah, so Casey Jones appears, and he actually got beat up by his father again. So Raphael goes out in a rage to go confront his dad and might actually try to kill him. So Splinter goes off to go retrieve Raphael to make sure he doesn't do anything stupid. And yeah, so that is going on. Now we get to see that Karai is taking on a ton of foot soldiers to impress her grandfather, Shredder. And Shredder basically tells her that she isn't ready to actually lead the Foot Clan. And Karai basically tries to, bad talk the Shredder and tells him that it's her actions alone that actually revived her grandfather from the dead, apparently. I'm really hoping we jump into that in a future volume. Hopefully when they confront each other again, he'll reveal his backstory and how he actually came back to life. But Karai basically tries to make it seem like, Shredder's indebted to her. And he basically puts her in his place, and even says that if she wasn't his own blood, that he would have striked her down already. So he puts her up to the test and gets about 3 foot soldiers, and goes on to attack Karai with her foot soldiers that she's been training with. And he just, destroys her, basically defeats all of her soldiers really fast and herself. He basically tells her that she isn't ready. Now we jump into what happened to Baxter Stockman, and it seems that Baxter Stockman was taken by Crane and his henchmen to where Crane's base is at. And Baxter Stockman has actually found a place where all the different Ultrons are actually at. And it's revealed to us by General Crane that the Ultrons that are here at his base are actually the last of their race. So it seems like it's a pretty important thing that they made, Earth their home or something like that. And yeah, so we jump back into Raphael. He gets in a fight with Casey Jones's father, and Splinter shows up and stops Raphael from doing something stupid and killing Casey Jones' father, and basically puts his sai up to his throat. Basically it says that he'll show him the true way of the ninja, saying that he uses too much anger in his fights. And he basically tells Raphael that if he were to kill this man right now, execute this man, would it make him happy? And Raphael is kind of shocked that Splinter is even suggesting such a thing. But Splinter and Raphael have this conversation. Basically he reveals to that Raphael that these things aren't easy, and choosing not to just murder people or just get the way that you want. And he says that he doesn't disagree with, Raphael, that this guy is a really horrible person that will just keep continuing to do this stuff, but there has to be a better way. Now, we get to see General Crane basically explain his backstory, and we get to learn that General Crane's father was actually the leader of the Ultron race. So Crane is basically just continuing his father's ambition, but he does mention that his father is very ambitious, but it turned out to be his downfall. But before we can learn what exactly happened to the Ultron race, we get this scene where some rebels from, I guess, a place in Dimension X, they basically come through the portal that leads to Dimension X to Earth, and they try to assassinate General Crane and his people. And General Crane basically just attacks them and attacks their leader, I guess, or at least the person that was leading the charge, and basically tells them that they're gonna have to get ready to go take over their entire city, basically. And yeah, he basically tells his troops to get ready for that. And Crane basically tells Baxter Stockman that the reason why he brought him to his base is just he needs him to work on this ultimate weapon, or this machine that he has made called the Technodrome, which is from, I believe, the 1988 series or 87 cartoon series. So that's to be really cool to see. Now we get to see Casey basically talk to the Ninja Turtles, basically telling them that they're lucky to have a father like Splinter, that he wishes he had something like that. And hopefully we get to see Casey Jones' father, like I said, have some development in the last volume. I said I would like to see that in the future volumes, and maybe this interaction with Splinter and Raphael, and almost, getting killed by them, kind of like wakes him up and he becomes a better person. But yeah, so we basically see that we get the conclusion to what happens with Raphael, Splinter, and Casey Jones' father by, Splinter basically asking if you were to kill this man, would it make everything better? And Raphael comes to the conclusion that it wouldn't solve Casey's problems and probably would just hurt him even more. Even though, this guy is like really bad, he is still his father. And Splinter basically tells him that he's happy that he was able to see that there is always a more peaceful solution, at least most of the time. And he tells him that Casey Jones is going to live with them from now on. So that's really cool. So when they finally get back home, Splinter basically sits all of them down and basically tells Casey that he's welcome to stay with them. So Casey actually accepts the offer, and it seems like he's going to be part of their family from now on permanently, which is really cool. Now we go back to Shredder and Karai, and we get to learn that Shredder is interested in Leonardo and tells Karai to go capture the one called Leonardo or bring him to him, because he wants to make him his second in command. Now this is really interesting. I'm guessing they're going to retell, or they're going to try to like remix the story of Leonardo one-shot mini-series thing that we saw in the original Mirage run, the most iconic TMNT story of all time, probably, where Leonardo gets ambushed by the Foot on the rooftops. So I'm guessing that this is going to be very similar to that, now with Karai basically leading the charge this time. And it should be pretty interesting. I don't see how Shredder's going to get Leonardo to want to join him, so we'll see how that turns out. And we get to see that Baxter Stockman and his professor, I think his name was Dr. Allen or something, were actually creating another mutagen animal using old Hobbs' blood, and, with the mutagen in it. And they basically called this thing, or this thing became known as Slash. And yeah, so Michelangelo had went out to get food for his brothers from, I think his name was Woody. And Woody basically gets attacked by Slash, so we'll see what happens at the end of the story when it comes to their relationship. And yeah, so we hear about Slash's stuff and how he got his name on the news that's playing on the TV that Splinter and Casey Jones are watching. And April basically tells Casey to come outside and see that Slash actually damaged her car, showing that he's getting close to knowing where the Turtles are at. Now, while the Turtles are patrolling the city, and they basically stop the mugging for happening to only get called monsters or something, and for the guy to run asking for help, which is a really funny scene with Raphael basically saying nice going Leo. We get to see that Slash smells them, and he sees them up in the rooftops with their bandanas, and he rips off a piece of one of the mugger's shirts, a black shirt, and basically meets his own bandana, and he basically calls them their prey, his prey. Now, Donzel had an idea to find a new lair for them, a turtle lair, as you could say, and they do find it, and they realize that this could actually be a very good spot. But while they're exploring this underground, I don't know what you would call it, like underground bunker. It was made for like a nuclear fallout under some church, and they basically get confronted by Slash. Now a battle ensues between the Turtles and Slash, and I really appreciated the use of this 12 panel grid. I think it's something we don't really see a lot in modern comics, and it's usually looked upon as very dated, and usually had tons of dialogue in that. But the way that the artist utilized the 12-page grid in the story and in the action scenes was really good, and this whole action sequence was really nice. Eventually, Leonardo, Raphael, and Donatello fall to Slash, and it's up to Michelangelo to basically save them. So he basically puts the beat down on Slash, and they basically all team up to fight against this monster. While that's going on, we get to see that General Crane is talking to his soldiers, basically tells them that they're going to embark on a battle, I guess, at the Rebellion's city, and they're going to basically kill everyone there. So I'll be really interested to see if we're actually going to see that battle, or if there's off-panel that. But yeah, that should be pretty interesting, and that leads more towards, I guess, the next volume, which is called Crane War, and hopefully that's really good too. But we're going to jump back into the battle with Slash, and they basically come to the conclusion where they need to try to kill Slash, but Michelangelo basically tells them that there's no way they're going to be doing that with this creature because he wasn't even choosing this. Basically, it's like programmed into him. They use some type of programming to make him where he wants to kill the turtles. So Michelangelo basically wants to try to save him and get him to think clearly. So Leonardo comes up with the idea to try to use a sleeper hold that Splinter had showed him, I guess, for a situation like this where you're not supposed to kill your opponent, and this actually turns out not to work. Slash is just too strong, basically just grabs all of them and just throws all of them at once. Eventually the battle keeps continuing onward, and Slash keeps trying to attack the turtles, with Leonardo basically trying to plead with them to stop fighting and try to figure this out, try to think clearly. But Slash goes forward to attack Leonardo and gets one of Leonardo's katanas in his shoulder or something like that, with Leonardo basically saying, "Oh no," and just feeling bad about it. So Slash basically takes out the katana and takes off his bandana and puts it on the katana, which is really kind of weird when you think about it, but it must be some type of symbolism that he was trying to tell them. And he basically goes back into the water in the sewer and makes his escape. And Leonardo basically tells him that, he didn't mean it, and even Slash says that he's hurt. So Leonardo's not happy about this victory. Now we get to see that Michelangelo had actually went to go get food the next day, and Leonardo is basically meditating and just thinking about everything that went down the night before, as Raphael tells April. And it's really cool because Raphael basically says that Michelangelo is a little too sensitive. This is where Splinter basically tells Raphael that Michelangelo's optimism is something that's great, and that he's actually had this through 2 lifetimes. And you get to see that Woody has actually been traumatized by the whole event with Slash. Luckily, he didn't die and Slash didn't kill him, but Michelangelo didn't lose a friend, but he's gonna have to keep a distance because these things are just too dangerous for him. So hopefully we get to see them interact in the future, and this kind of blows over, and Woody feels safe again. But it is pretty sad to see Michelangelo lose his best friend, because this whole situation, Michelangelo didn't want this thing with Slash to happen the way it did either. So you have that as well. And overall, it was just really good scene. We also need to see Splinter talk about Leonardo, because Raphael, had an idea that, Leonardo must be cold-blooded because he didn't really show any emotion whenever, he came back home, and said he needed to meditate. And even April had mentioned about this, but Splinter actually saw through that and basically tells Raphael that just because Leonardo, has these emotions, he wished the fight had gone a different way. He's almost sure that Leonardo feels this way about wanting the fight to be in a more peaceful solution, and perhaps Slash, being able to fight his programming and become a good person. He is still a ninja and he has a strong spirit, so he's going to continue to go forward, and hopefully we get to see them interact again in the future, with Leonardo basically having Slash, helping Slash, become a good guy in the future. Now, the comic ends with Slash basically washing up ashore, very damaged, and somebody hits him in the head, basically tells him to wake up. and it turns out to be Hobbs with a canister of Splinter's blood. So it seems like he says they're going to be the hunters. He has a lot of people out there that thought he was dead, and they're just going to make them pay. And and there's people that he needs to kill, place to be and people to kill, as he says. And that's how the volume ends, with Old Hob and Slash forming a partnership, it seems. But I do think Slash will turn good in the future. But it's going to take some time. Hopefully, another interaction with the Turtles. And that was IDW's TMNT 2011 Volume 4, Sins of the Fathers. It was a really good volume. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to read Volume 5, The Crane War, or Crane War. And I really enjoyed Crane as a villain. He has a lot of personality. I think all the villains in this book have been very good. And I can't wait to see what other villains are going to be dropping by in the future. Hopefully we get to see the Technodrome pretty soon, and hopefully Bastard Stockman's role is really big in the future, hopefully in the next volume or so. And overall, I'm just really enjoying this run, and I hope you guys are enjoying it too. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss all these volume reviews I'm doing from volume 1 all the way to probably volume 23. And then, like I said, I might do the TMNT Reborn series as well, but we'll talk about that when we get to it, if we're going to continue that or not. I'm not sure about if I'm going to be doing, daily videos. If you watch my channel, you know that I've been taking a break for a little bit. I don't want to burn myself out too much. It's a lot to read, as much material as I was putting out. But I'm going to try getting at least 2 volume reviews out every week. At least that's my goal. And if I have time, I will do other videos throughout the week. But I don't want to burn myself out, and I want to make sure I get the best content out possible, and that it doesn't feel rushed and forced. But the TMNT, IDW series, that will be coming out every week for sure. I love this series, and I can't wait to complete it and share this journey with you guys, because it's fun. That's to be all, guys. Until the next video, God bless you. Until the next lesson, keep on reading those comments.
I am who I'm meant to be. Over and out again. My future needed clarity.